Welcome, folks. Welcome.
Thank you, Synchronicity, for the reminder, perfect reminder of why we're here. Love. Great song. I'm Deb Walker. I've been a member of Unity for almost a year and a half. I love it here. Your chairperson for this morning. Welcome to everybody who's here with us, and a special warm welcome to everybody who's joining us virtually. YouTube, Facebook, and anybody who may see the service later today or even during the week. Know that we are all one in spirit, and there is no separation. So you're here with us whenever you might see the service today. Okay. I'm going to share with you a kind of a funny experience, but it has spiritual meaning because I look for a spiritual meaning in most things, and this one for some reason stopped me in my tracks. A couple weeks ago on a Sunday morning when I walked out the doors of Unity and go get in my car and go home, there was bird poop running down the side of my car, and I have no reason why. It stopped me in my tracks in that moment. Now, it's not like I've never had bird poo on my car before, because I have. For some reason, I just stood there kind of like an idiot and just looked at it. So I got in the car. After I got in the car, the whole windshield was, put it this way, there was more bird poo on my windshield at one time than what I've ever seen before. So my thinking mind kicks in, and there's got to be some message in this. So I haul myself over to the car wash across the street, and in the car wash, I looked up the spiritual meaning of bird poo on a car. This inquiring mind always wants to know. And what I found was, it's kind of obvious, it meant the spiritual meaning, and they all pretty much said the same. Of course, I had to check multiple sites or sources. Releasing, letting go, which is real appropriate with one of our speakers a couple weeks ago referred to this releasing as kind of a spiritual laxative, and so I thought, this is starting to mean something here. Yes, I think it was you, Marypatriece. That it had a lot of meaning. While there, it showed itself to me. So, as I'm reading on, beyond the release, and I know I've been shedding lots, outdated beliefs and behavior patterns, but it was good luck, abundance, and moving on, welcoming in the new. So I'm sitting in the car wash and I'm reading all that and thought, yep, that really resonates. As I'm pulling out of the car wash, the words of Jesus literally popped into my mind. Judge not by appearances. And that was a powerful message. So I understood why it stopped me in my tracks, standing there looking at the side of my car, then seeing it on my windshield. Actually, I put gas in the car first, and it was on the other side of the car, too. So it was like, the Spirit wants me to get this, so thank you, I got it. Okay, let's move on with our vision statement for us here at Unity. If you would say it with me. A world powerfully transformed through shared spiritual awakening. And our mission statement together, advancing the movement of spiritual awakening and transformation through unity, a positive path for spiritual living. And our values, abundance, acceptance, community, diversity, integrity, joy, and love. And we celebrate our children by saying together, Unity of Appleton sees the divinity in all children and nurtures their unfolding spirituality. And our daily word for today, world peace. I join with others to build a peaceful world. The world's problems can feel so overwhelming, and its needs so great that I may wonder how my individual efforts could make much of a difference. But every action I take can contribute to world peace. I remember there are people throughout the world who feel the way that I do. So many are doing what they can to bring light and love to their neighborhoods and communities. I feel comforted, realizing I am not alone in my efforts. Peace begins with each person and inspires others as it spreads, uniting all the world's people to live and thrive in harmony and cooperation. We are meant to live in peace. I hold that vision and offer compassionate service as a way to make my dream for world peace a reality for all of us. And from Romans chapter 14, let us then pursue what makes for peace and for mutual upbuilding. And let's say the phrase at the top together. I join with others to build a peaceful world.
Hello.
And it's my pleasure to introduce Marypatriece and Tom Wendt, who we're very familiar with. I have this phrase going through my mind that you are the dynamic duo, and you always bring a message. I always take something away from what you share. So thank you for being here and sharing your gifts with us today. Marypatriece has been a full-time elementary special education teacher for 19 years. She's also the part-time spiritual leader at Unity Spiritual Center of Woodstock, Illinois. Reverend Tom retired from active ministry 6 years ago and continues to contribute his energy at Unity Spiritual Center of Woodstock. He is also the spiritual leader of Unity of DePlain, Illinois, and a certified dream builder life coach, supporting individuals in defining and living their dreams. Marypatriece and Tom enjoy hiking, cooking, baking, family, and socializing. Sounds like a very full life. We're so glad Tom is healed enough from his surgery to be with us today, and really happy that you're both here. So welcome the MPT team.
Thank you for having us. We are so glad to be back, and it's nice to have my partner in crime with me.
Good to be here.
You know, it is different going on one on your own, but we get to get back again into our regular routine. So, I don't know if any of you have ever read this story as a child or you know about this story. It's called The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. Yes? The book follows the lives of an apple tree and a boy who develop a close relationship with each other. In his childhood, the boy enjoys playing with the tree, climbing its trunk, swinging from its branches, and eating its apples. He even pretends to be a king with a crown of leaves. He loved the tree so much that he carves me and T into the trunk. However, as the boy gets older, he spends less time with the tree and more time with other aspects of life, visiting it very little or sometimes not coming alone. He tends to visit only when he wants material items at various stages of his life. In an effort to make the boy happy at each of these stages, the tree gives him parts of itself which he can transform into material items, such as money from its apples when the boy is a teenager, a house from its branches when he becomes a young man, and a boat from its trunk when he's a little older than that. With every stage of giving, she tells him, "You will be happy." At every moment of giving, the book says, and the tree was happy. And when the boy is gone, the tree is sad. In the final pages, the tree and the boy reflect on their relationship. When only a stump remains for the tree with a heart and the inscription still saying me and T, the boy returns as an elderly man to meet the tree once more. It tells him it cannot provide him with shade or apples or any materials like in the past. It has nothing more to give. He ignores this and states that all he wants is a quiet place to sit and rest, which the tree, who is weak, being just a stump, can provide. With this final stage of giving, the story closes with, and the tree was happy. Was the man happy? It does not really say, but on the last page, he's sitting with his back to the reader.
You know, this story, I think I need to move this. Is that correct? Okay. The story is about so many things, and so first I'll warn you There should be a yellow caution sticker here. I'm about to present you with far more questions than I am answers. Talking about this book went in a totally different direction than I thought it would, and it has me reflecting deeply on my relationships. What I could relate to most in this story is the boy would only approach the tree when he needed something from it. Now, that could be shade or leaves or the joy of climbing the tree or apples from the tree. And these were aspects that the tree gave freely. And as I reflected on it, it did not involve any loss from the tree. Yeah, sit in my shade, climb me, here's some apples, they're going to fall anyway. Enjoy. And then as significant time elapsed, the boy grew older and more and once again visited the tree when he needed money. And the tree says, well, I can't give you money, but here are my apples. Sell them and you'll receive the money you need. Still didn't involve a loss to the tree, and it was giving freely. So, presuming this is my story, I ask myself, where am I willing to unconditionally give? Essentially when it costs me nothing. Well, I can tell you, folks, as I stand here, I'm really generous when I have nothing to lose. I give freely when it's free to give. I can tell you that. I mean, MP and I are honorary grandparents to our neighbor kids. They're, about 4 or 5 months old and 4 years old, and we just love them to death. And, as I go through my day, and I always look at people and establish eye contact and nod, and I just love being generous and friendly. I give people breaks in traffic. Doesn't cost me anything. I'm really good at that. And in this book, as time elapsed, the boy, who is now a man but still referred to as a boy in the tree's eyes, needed a home. So he returned to the tree to cut the branches to make a home. And the tree was happy to give of itself. And the tree said, take all my branches. Well, you know what happens when you take all the branches from a tree. Now the cost of the tree's unconditional loving or giving was apparent, and yet the tree was happy. So I asked myself, where am I willing to give now when there's a cost to me? Well, I love to engage in consistent, generous giving. We used to call it tithing, but I'm told that phrase isn't as popular as consistent, generous giving. But I like to do that. I recall treating my family to a week at a lodge in Indiana on a lake with a beach and a game room every year for about over a decade for a week. Just loving giving them that experience and changing my grandkids' lives. I volunteer freely. I love to give of my time. I'm on the board of directors of a chamber of commerce and help at MP's church. And all this costs some, so I'm pretty good with that. But I'm also keenly aware there's a limit. So I'll give even when it costs me something, but I'm not willing to sacrifice all my branches, as the tree was. My giving in my mind must be reasonable. Now, I refer to this as healthy boundaries. But we'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
So, like you know from past talks that we've given, we don't always see things the same way.
Do you think?
And we do interpret things differently. So I want to share my thoughts about this story. So, of course, it would be really natural for me to interpret this story in the the literal sense of taking advantage of nature, right? So when we take advantage of nature and we over-rely on its resources, in the end, we have depleted it and we are no longer able to enjoy that anymore. Of course, now that's a really pretty quick and easy awareness that maybe that's the only awareness this author wanted us to have. But of course, I wanted to go a little bit deeper and do a big dive in. So it was, for me, I wanted to look at it more in a metaphysical way like you did, but from a different perspective. So you saw yourself as the tree, and I wanted to look at it, at the tree, as being that established, rooted, growing, expanding structure that we all have in our lives when we're born into our families. You know, we're born into a forest of behavioral expectations and ideas on how you live and the way that things are done, and we are shaded by it. We are living in the benefits of it, the fruit of it. It sustains us, and we go with it. We climb the trees, we play around with it. We take this all in as our property too, right? Because we're in an environment that shares it freely. We're in an environment that encourages us to spend time there. And we're really we're indoctrinated into all these things, and it could be a great experience and great perspectives on how to live life and the way to do that. It may be very positive, and it also may be a perspective that you don't find as being positive as you move out into your life, that you find you might need to trim or change or let go of. So as this little boy is playing and he's making his crown of leaves and everything, he's imagining his life and how he makes use of all of these spiritual and emotional and physical ways of living in life. How he is going to apply it to his life as he gets older. And it gives him a sense of power because they're all tools, right? They're tools and ways to be a part of the world and the experience of the environment around you. You can think about some of the fun or the great experiences, maybe their favorite recipes, or maybe it's a certain tradition or things of that nature. But there are also those that tell you how you're supposed to operate in relationships. How are you supposed to operate in the world at school or at work or whatever might be coming to you. And this whole belief system is deeply rooted. It's not just what you see. It's the stuff that acts in the back of your mind and just rolls whether you're aware of it or not. And it's comfortable because you've been acclimated to it from an early age. It's so comfortable. We find that those roots are not just in the tree, but they're in us. This is like our family tree in our life, in the way we operate. And we grow those ideas in our minds and hearts about how it should be, what's right and wrong, good or bad, better or worse, and reinforce that the past, often like the tree did, the past was better than now. As the boy gets older, the tree is longing for that early stage of when there weren't any questions. You didn't spend time away. You always stayed here, and you were a part of these experiences and beliefs. It's how we make sense of the world. These belief systems and behavioral patterns provide us opportunities to imagine how to create the world that we are getting old enough now to move out into. And we allow them to, we take the branches, we take them with us, and we start building the foundation of that house. We set the timbers, and we want to have that family. We want to have those kids, and here we go. We're going to use the tools and the resources that we have been given since we were young. How did that work for you? Were they good tools? Were they good resources? Or was it similar to this man in the story where it seems like I never see any of the pages where he's smiling or coming back to the tree to celebrate? Do you realize that those tools and resources maybe just don't fit anymore? Maybe they need to be used up and let go of. In my own experience, I can tell you my resources and tools and belief systems and things that I used to build a relationship didn't work out so well. Not just one time, I built more than 2 houses, and both of them didn't turn out very well at all. So those branches must have grown back for me to go back and, harvest a second set of them so I could try it over again. At least he only did it once. I took longer to learn. But those things are sort of like this unwritten guide for our lives, because we hear, if you use me, you'll be happy. If you climb in my trees, if you use my leaves, if you eat my apples, you're going to be happy. And sometimes that may be true. But sometimes we might find that those resources are limited, and the benefits that we get from them are limited. We may not experience the outcome that we anticipate, that they promised, that we envisioned. And in this middle of the book, the boy is going back to the tree, taking more time away from those resources, more time away from those expectations, but yet coming back at different points to try it again. Well, maybe this tool will work. Maybe this can make my life better. He built his house, and somehow he's still coming back and saying, hey, I need a boat now to get away. I can understand that. I have built a life at times where it was exactly what I thought I should do and where I should be, and exactly the same ways that I was thinking about them, and my perspective of seeing them didn't turn out the way I thought it would, and I wanted a boat or a train or a car or a bike to get away. Have you ever felt that way? I always knew I wanted to be married. I always knew I wanted to have a family. In my life, those structures were made from redwood, the big fat trees. And if it probably wasn't just one, there was probably a whole forest of them that I brought with me into those relationships. And it didn't do a good job. I mean, they were structurally sound for sure, but I wasn't structurally sound. They were very strong and rigid and inflexible in the structures that I was trying to create that needed flexibility, that needed some bending, that needed to know that I could modify and change, and I wasn't able to back then. What I believe is that the tree symbolizes the early perspectives and behavior patterns which I adopted and will always be part of me. Even at the end of the story, it's just a stump, but the truth is the stump below it has a huge network system of roots. And they will continue to live in me, whether I'm intentionally visiting them or not. So I need to be aware and consciously look at what my life needs to have weeded out. And truthfully, I'm not going to lie, there will be moments where I'm going to go back and rely on them again if I think that they could benefit me. And then I'll say, well, did that help or not? Until I choose to acknowledge them, to address them, to accept responsibility for them and forgive myself for them and resolve to reduce the effects that they have in my life. They may just look like a stump right now, but there's a whole root system underneath. In the story, it doesn't appear that the boy ever came to this realization in his life. In none of the pages, other than when he was a boy, did he have a smile, even to the last page. But it was written, the last sentence was, and the tree was happy because he was back. May our ending perspective, our ending story be, and the individual was happy.
Yes, we have different takes on this story, don't we? And as MP alluded to, finally, as time went on, kind of an old man returns to the tree and says, I need a boat. I need a boat to get away from all this, after receiving really everything he wanted from the tree. He said, I'm too old and sad to play. What I want is a boat to take me far away from here. And the tree offered her trunk, all of herself. And afterwards, all that remained was a stump, and yet the tree was happy. This made me reflect on times that I've used people because I needed something from them and did not continue the relationship for sake of a relationship. Just kind of went on my own. And I either let that relationship die, or maybe I returned again when I needed something once again. And frankly, I think I've been both sides of that equation. Others have come to me in need too, and simply taken what they needed and never to see them again. And I have to laugh because sometimes when I run into people who attended church when I was the minister and I had provided my services in the capacity as a minister, and they disappeared, and then I'll run into them somewhere out in the world in a store or something like that. And they'll say, oh, it's so good to see you. I've been meaning to come back to the church. It's been years. And I'll probably see you again soon, so I look forward to that. Guilt. I think they feel guilty. And I think stories as this one we're alluding to are valuable when they encourage us to simply revisit how we lived our lives, but not to produce guilt. We're not into that. But to mindfully re-examine, what am I like in relationship? To be mindful of how I am in relationship and appreciating the relationships we've had and those we have now, and think of those we may have in the future. And when I think about it, perhaps some relationships exist solely for receiving or taking, and some solely for giving. Maybe that's just the way things work out sometimes. No reason to feel guilty. No reason. To me, this book is somewhat of a cosmic tap on the shoulder saying, Tom, you may want to take a look at your life and how you relate to others and how they've served you and you served them, what you've given, what you've received. Just review, just be mindful, that's all. Another way to see the story is the unconditional giving, loving nature of the tree, kind of a Mother Teresa of trees, for goodness sakes. In some ways, that was a little scary to me, and I'll expand on that in a minute. I mean, this tree unconditionally loved this boy, no matter his age. This tree always saw even the old man as a little boy. Always giving him what he asked for. Never, ever being protective of itself, but giving of itself throughout its entire life. And the tree provided all the material parts of itself that it could give, and each time the boy returned and wanted more. Getting what he wanted did not make the boy happy. Let me restate that as the boy grew older, getting what he wanted did not make him any happier. And I think one lesson to take from this is that happiness is not a product of material things alone. Sharing material things with others is kind of cool, kind of fun. I mean, you do it all here at the church all the time. But just material things don't get it. And when I reflect on the tree freely giving itself of its trunk, essentially all of itself, then I ask myself, am I capable of being loving and generous to that extent, or I give it all away? And should I be? Well, I have been for short periods of time. I'm thinking of a time when a person close to me had an experience of a mental health crisis, and both MP and I, man, we went all in for a few days. Everything was to focus on this person and help this person through a very difficult time. For several days, but not forever, like the tree. And then this brought to mind, some of you may be familiar with the Dedication and Covenant written by our co-founders, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, back in 1892. It reads like this. We, Charles Fillmore and Myrtle Fillmore, husband and wife, hereby dedicate ourselves, our time, our money, and all we have, and all we expect to have to the truth of spirit, and through it to the society of silent unity. It goes on to say, it being understood and agreed that said spirit of truth shall render unto us an equivalent for this dedication in peace of mind, health of body, wisdom, understanding, love, life, and an abundant supply of all things necessary to meet every want, without our making any of these things the object of our existence. I first heard about this back some class at Unity Village, maybe to be a licensed teacher. And when I first heard it, I kind of went, I don't know if I could do this. Really? Dedicate everything to this and this belief system? Whew. The title of our talk today is The Choices We Make. This story and the rereading of this dedication and covenant jarred me into thoroughly reflecting on my life, and in particular in my relationships. Where am I giving? Okay? Where am I receiving or taking? And what choices am I making? And most important, how far am I willing to go? That's a hard question to ask and still say, I want to live the spiritual life. So, as I stated earlier, I provide no answers today, only questions that I hope will encourage you to examine your life and your relationships as I continue to do with mine.
In closing, this is a very thought-provoking book for children, right? Maybe more than just children. And whether your choices are about how you choose to operate in your life, or your choices are about how those mental tapes affect the choices you make in your life, it is all up to you. There are so many meaningful ways this story can be interpreted. We've only touched on a couple. Whether you see yourself as the tree or the boy, you can come away with a new view on life and living. After all, isn't that what it's all about? Living your best life. May the end of your story be, and I am happy. And it doesn't have to be the end of your story. It could be the day it is. It just is the last experience that you have ongoing. Let it be so. And so it is. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you. So being new here, I need to just familiarize myself with the process. Do I begin meditation now, or is there a song? Okay. I thought, you're awful quiet, group. Thank you for that. How useful it is in relationships to just be candid, isn't it? And honest. I'm not sure what to do here. So I invite us all to enter into this time of guided meditation in a relaxed and peaceful state of mind. Sharing this time in relationship with your best friend, you. Oh, thank you, Spirit. Thank you. Thank you for the guidance and reflection within me. Oh, thank you. And I invite us to take this time to first reflect on the relationships we have with the material. Perhaps our car, always feel better when mine is clean. Perhaps our home. Other items of the five sense world that are of value to us and help to give life meaning. Nothing wrong with this. Bring them to the fore of your mind and your inner vision now. And mindfully reflect on what you're grateful for regarding them. Ooh. These material items help us live in the material world, and we give thanks for them. Is there a peaceful place in your home that you're so happy to retreat to? Somewhere else or something else that brings you comfort? Thank you. My life is better because of my appreciation of you. Thank you. And allow ourselves, I suggest, to focus on the sentient beings in your life. Could be human beings or those of the animal world that seem so incredibly human at times. Bring them here with you right now in your imagination. Bring them with you here. Look into their eyes, if you will. Perhaps it's a significant other, a relative, a pet, an animal we care for. Look into the eyes. Regardless of how many are there, look into the eyes. And with your eyes, send them your appreciation of them. Thank you for being my giving tree. Oh, my heart is open to you being in my life. And I am so much better for it. Thank you. Oh. Just be with these beautiful, beautiful creatures for a while. Yeah. And again, with your eyes, as you gaze into theirs, allow them to see the gratitude in you that will continue to be mindfully forthcoming, because you make a difference in my life. You really do. And most all relationships come to an end in time. With your eyes, let them know that you will always be grateful. Always. I am a different person because of you. Thank you for that. Thank you. Oh my. Relationships. Relationships. and so it is. Amen.
Now we move from meditation to our affirmation of prosperity. This is the time when those of us who think of Unity of Appleton as our spiritual home practice putting spirit first in our financial life. When we do this, it prospers the spiritual community we love and supports our own spiritual growth and prosperity. Please connect with the guidance of Spirit in you and give whatever amount Spirit guides you to give. Whatever that amount is, take it in your hand and bless it with love. If you are one of the many of us who give electronically, take the gift into your heart. Feel free to bless the plate as it passes by. Let yourself feel grateful to God in you as your one source. Then please join in our affirmation of prosperity. Unity of Appleton is alive with the energy of Spirit in the flow of divine abundance and radiant with unlimited possibilities. Please say with me our celebration of giving and receiving. Divine love in and through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I joyfully give and willingly receive. I give in love, and I trust God as my source.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present
With open hearts, grateful hearts, we receive these gifts, not only for Unity of Appleton, for our use, but for us to be in service to love beyond these walls and into the world. Thank you. And it's time for our announcements. Sunday mornings, the Mastery of Love book study continues weekly on Sundays until the group finishes the book, likely in late October. We gather upstairs at 11:15, and reading together will start at 11:30 at the latest. Everyone is welcome to join for good company and great discussions, and it is just a warm, welcoming, open group. So join us if you would like to. There are jobs that can go unnoticed unless something goes wrong. And one of those is maintaining a comfortable level of humidity in our sanctuary. Tom Dusterhoff sets up our humidifier after church, maintains it, and breaks it down before Sunday services so it's not in the way. Thanks, Tom, from our hearts, for keeping our main level comfortable for everyone. Thank you, Tom. A reminder, the prayer boxes by the Connect and Serve table, prayer requests are kept confidential. International Day of Peace celebration is Sunday, September 17th. Sign-up sheets are on the Connect and Serve table. There are lots of opportunities to volunteer. If you know how you'd like to help, please indicate that on the sign-up sheet. Posters are also on the Connect and Serve table. Please take some to distribute all over your town and help us get the word out about this upcoming event. It sounds like a lot of fun.
3 weeks from today?
Approaching fast. Okay, I'm not sure I can read all of that,
You
but,
don't need to read them.
okay,
Just give an idea of
okay.
everything that's going on there, maybe we can just stop a minute there. Yeah, we have people speaking, we have music, we have storytelling, we have lots of dancing, folk dancing activities. The peace pole painting, is that geared for kids? Is that?
Yes, but adults are there.
Yeah. So lots of stuff, and we are looking at a full slate of activities, and we need as many people who can stay after service to help, just get this thing, because everything starts from scratch in this park, so all of it is in her park, so anyway, appreciate the help.
And our prayer of protection. Let's stand and say this together.
I mean, is it-